Hello guys, welcome back to another video in Castle. I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple tower defense shooter. Now this is going to be a really simpler dumbed down version than a normal one would be and way less efficient. I don't 100% know the skills how to make the proper one you see in the templates whatever of Castle, but I do have a solution that does work. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a deck, and now I'm going to just get a basic wall, change the color to like a peach or something, and this is going to be the track for now, and then I'll just make the background a little bit more different. So now we have, let's say the background is dirt, and then this is the path. And now I'm just going to make a path. It's going to be a little bit blocky, but I'll just do that. So once you've made the actual track, like I got the design here, you're gonna make I'll make them like a little design. You don't have to put any art on these things. They're just gonna change the direction of movement for the character or the enemy that you're fighting. And basically the hard part of making this is basically just making the enemies move along the track. So, and on this I'm gonna create a logic for when the characters are made. First, I'm gonna make like the enemy. So I'm just gonna make a red circle and give it a dynamic motion. This is important because it would allow the blocks that it goes into and collides with to change its direction to, you know, like another place on the track, and then just follow it. And I'm gonna add the tag enemy. This is gonna be really important to determine which actor to move. So now back on the cube, you're gonna say when it collides with enemy, tell closest actor with the tag enemy to modify the rotation of another thing we're gonna make. So I'll just say modify property and then leave this like this. Now I'm gonna make an arrow, and this is gonna be determining where the actor is gonna go, and then the cube is gonna tell the actor to go that direction. So let me just make a basic arrow. So now we have an arrow here. I'm gonna name this just direction. You can call it whatever you want though. And when you place this actor down now, you can see it's facing that way. And if I go into the properties here and go a bit up, you can see down here rotation. The more I add the rotation, like let's say if I make it change that direction completely to another side, so I would just add 90 to that, and you see boom, it's gonna go down now. So the idea is it's gonna take that rotation and then modify the actor to go that direction with the speed it still has. So like for this example, you're gonna want to make this on every single corner of the path, and you know it's simpler to understand, and I generally don't know how to make the other way. But also the other way, making paths is a bit more difficult because it can get confused. So now I'm gonna go back onto that block and go to where I left it. I was gonna say modify rotation to the closest actor with the tag direction, and then we're gonna use that to determine where it's gonna go, because when it rotates that direction, we're gonna make it go forward in that direction, and we're gonna change it every so often. So it's going to be the behavior property of the rotation of the closest actor with the tag direction. So to not mess this up, you don't want two directions that face different ways on top of each other. But that won't be a problem because you just have to make sure there's no duplicates. And even if there are duplicates in the same direction, it won't mess it up. So we're not going to leave it like that. To make this a little bit easier, I'm actually just going to make this easier. I'm going to give eyes to the enemies just to understand if they go in the right direction or not, because it's pretty hard to tell otherwise. Actually, there's a simpler way you can do this. My bad. We don't need this actor. I'm just gonna copy the script. We actually don't need this. I just thought about it now. Then we can just create this and just say on the enemy we're pasting the same thing I'll show you now, and we change it to direction, and the closest enemy we can actually take away. So all we're making is when it collides with direction, modify the rotation to direction, and then move in my own angle at the speed to whatever. So as you can see, I just place it so it moves there, and we move it down, it moves there. So as you can see, they can interlap. So let me just show you a quick simple one, because you start with the arrows going down here, So go down like that and then just glitch out. Basically what I've done wrong of what I just made now, I might change a few things. So firstly, to the enemy you want to add when's created repeat every 0.0167 seconds. What is the lowest it can go, and it makes it move 0.12 speed. Very specific. I didn't realize it to be this hard. So to add that, you have to go say when created, move towards my own angle, and to actually get the option, you have to make it a dynamic motion on the actor. So if it doesn't show up, try to do that, and make the speed 0.12. Then you want to press on the move towards angle, and then say repeat n times. Then when you get here, click on the 1 and then press the minus button, and it'll take it to its lowest amount it can. So now it's like that. Once you got that down, you want to go to the arrow and then make it like this to say when this collides with enemy tag, tell the closest actor with the enemy tag to modify rotation to the direction of the rotation of the arrow. I'll just redo this as well. So you say when collides with enemy, this is on the arrow by the way, tell closest actor with the tag enemy to modify property and then modify the rotation. Click the lab icon there, press a constant number, then go here the value of a behavior property, then say the rotation value of the closest actor with direction. That's it. So I already set up the things. There's one problem with this way of making a tower defense. It can't have the arrows like this, because then that breaks it. Why? Don't know. I don't know, man. Because like, let's say I put it here, it'll go down, it'll turn and just not turn again. But if I put it over here, it goes down, turns, and then it will turn. So I already made a full thing. You just can't have it one block next to each other. And also if you make it like this, it won't change anything. It has to be one full block away. If you want different sizes, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's gonna be a little bit harder, but that's the movement of the enemies. And let's say, for example, I want to add multiple enemies. You can't put them all together here. The same rule applies. There's a one tile difference. What could make some things a bit harder to do, but this is just very bare bones kind of mechanics. As you can see, only the first one does what it's supposed to do because it's taking all the responses onto itself. But if I remove the middle one and leave a one gap space, all of them will follow onto the track where they're supposed to be moving and go wherever and just get to the end. So with that said, enough with the enemies, and let's make a simple tower. You can make a lot of other ways to do this, but I'm gonna quickly just make a simple circle kind of, I don't know, gun thing. So I made this, and what we're gonna do, this is the simpler part of the whole tutorial. We're gonna just make it create a projectile, what is gonna be an actor, what's gonna basically go into the direction of the enemy. So to do this, first let's make the projectile that's gonna shoot. And I'm just gonna make this a simple circle, and I'm just gonna make the collision to what the shape of it is. That will just make a lot more sense. And now I'm gonna name it bullet and add the tag bullet. That's gonna also be important. So I'm gonna say when this is created, and before I do that, make it dynamic so it can move. When it's created, move towards another actor, and that actor is going to be the enemy because it's going to be trying to go to the enemy at the speed, whatever speed you want, like 3. So now we can quickly test this without it doing any damage or anything or killing an enemy, just for visual test. To say on the shooting thing you want to make, when it's created, create actor bullet and make this behind it so it doesn't look weird every 1 second, let's say. So if we put it, let's say over here, I'll make it here, it's gonna shoot a bullet that's gonna go the direction of the enemy. And as you can see, it kind of had infinite range. Like if I play it again, shoots really far. Do I know how to make range and make it stop shooting when it gets to a certain range? Of course not. So that's why I'm literally just gonna make it when this bullet is created, it's gonna wait 1 second, destroy itself, and that is the range basically. It looks a bit chopped, but yeah. And to add on to that, it would be really cool if it faced the direction of the enemy. Make it face the enemy, we're just gonna go when created, modify again. Then we're going to say the rotation we want to modify. And here's a bit hidden, but you have to scroll all the way down. And then scroll until you get to spatial relations. And then here it shows angle from one actor to another actor, degrees. You're going to click that, say myself for the top, and then the bottom one is going to be the closest actor with the tag enemy, what's it's going to be facing. It just turns its rotation to the closest actor that it finds. And you're going to make this repeat as fast as you can. Do the same trick where you click the minus. It's just going to make sure every single second it can, it's going to face that direction. Now when you click on it, it faces the exact direction of the enemies that's closest to it. It does do a bit of bugging where if some get close to it, it might go back and forward. I don't know, I'm not going to try to fix that, but it works. And as you can see, it's not really hitting the enemy because the projectile speed is too slow. We could make it home in onto the actual enemy, but I'm not going to be doing that. All I'm going to be doing, then I'm going to do this when the enemy collides with the bullet. So we're just going to say collide and bullet, because we added that tag to the bullet now. It's gonna tell, firstly, it's gonna modify the variable of a variable. First, we need to make that variable what's gonna be a local script now. This is basically gonna be the data on each enemy, even though they are kind of the same actor here. They just get created again and again, but we're gonna have actual variables for them. So when I click on add variable, we're gonna name this one HP and give it, let's say, 5 HP. Then when this collides with bullets, it's gonna modify the actor variable, as you can see selected here, not the deck variable. That's for other things what aren't local and are throughout the whole deck. Then we're gonna click on HP, as that's our thing, and say -1. So this is, every time this happens, you're gonna minus the variable by 1, and you're gonna make this relative, because relative basically means it's gonna keep on minusing the same variable and not just change a variable to the -1. We can also play a little sound, because why not? And then now we're gonna create a new one and say, scroll down all the way here to say, see in state, when variable reaches a value. We're gonna click on that, and we're gonna say when HP is equal or less than 0, it's gonna destroy the actor. So now basically once it gets to 0, it's just gonna die. So as we can see here, it's gonna miss a few shots. Okay, so it didn't work as well as I needed it to. So I made it homing. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to do this, but doing it. So to make it homing, it's pretty simple. You take away the other things you had with when it modifies the rotation. You just want to make it repeat the few seconds you can. To move towards the enemy, I want to make it 0.2 at speed 0.2. So now, and also to make this work, you must say when it collides with enemy, it's gonna destroy the actor. So this is how it's gonna work. Makes a sound every time it collides. I'm just gonna add when created, wait, and then destroy again, like 2. Problem with the homing, wow, let's add this on a bullet. The problem with the homing is it's sometimes misses and doesn't just get destroyed, but oh well. It somewhat works. And I guess I got that somewhat working. I'm just gonna make it a little faster. So now I'm gonna make the gameplay loop, which is gonna consist of getting money, buying more turrets, and then getting the win. So to make this, first we're gonna make a money system, and we just need to make the variable up here in the deck, and we're gonna add the variables the same as the local, but this is the deck variable now we're gonna use. And we're gonna say money. So we're gonna leave the money at 0, make a text, and to make a text you go into text here. Then we're gonna change this text, and then we're gonna say $money, and basically it represents the amount the variable has onto the text. We're gonna just make this white, why not? And I'm gonna put this at the top and make it a little bit bigger. But as you can see, it's 0 right now because the variable here is 0. We change this to 2, it becomes 2 as well. So we're gonna go back to the enemy now, and because we got the money variable, we're gonna go here and we're gonna go on to when it's 0, it's gonna destroy actor, and insert, it's gonna give the money to make it 1 more. So we're gonna just go on deck variable now to add there, to modify the variable. We're gonna say just 1 relative. so it adds 1 to that variable. So you get 1 money every time you kill the enemy. And also we're gonna make the arrows not visible because we don't really want to be seeing them, so it just looks like this now. So now we got that done. We're gonna make the purchasing system for the turrets. This is gonna be a little bit more complex, but the UI, I'm not really good at UI, but I'm just gonna make a little shop icon. I'll make a little like house thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, whatever that is. Then once the person taps it, we're gonna be able to take their money if they have enough money and then place it down around the map. So we're gonna say when tapped, create a blueprint, and for this we're actually gonna do this first. I'm gonna press this button here, which is gonna make a duplicate of it but with separate things, so you don't have shared actions and stuff. So if I change one, it doesn't change other. We're gonna use this one for the starting one and this one for the draggable ones. So when this is created, it's gonna have a dynamic and it's gonna have a drag mechanic what we're gonna leave on, and then we're gonna say here, so what we're gonna do is when this is created, it's gonna add a tag what's gonna basically say when it's draggable, it's not gonna shoot. Once it's placed down, it's gonna start shooting and stuff like that. So we're gonna make a tag, let's say active, because they're shooting whatever, doesn't matter. When it's created, it's gonna add the tag active. What we're gonna do is say when the drag ends on this, it's gonna disable a behavior, what's gonna be the drag, so it's not gonna be draggable anymore, and it's gonna add a tag what it's gonna be shooting. So this is gonna allow it to actually shoot once we put the constraints or the conditions for the other variables. So once we do that, we're gonna go here for all of these of the shooting and aiming, rotation, whatever. We're gonna say wrapping condition, and then if this has tag shooting, it's gonna do the rotating to the enemy, and the same with this one, wrapping condition, and if this has tag shooting, it's gonna create the bullets to shoot at the person. So let's just drop this in to test it out. Not gonna do anything now. We end the drag, it's gonna start spinning away, but I'm gonna add a slowdown to it so it doesn't do that. Oh wait, no, I did this wrong. So I'm gonna take away the constraint. What I have to do is not say when it's created, I have to say when this gains tag shooting, it's gonna do all the things. My bad. And do it for the other one as well. So now when it stops doing that, then it will work. So now using this, we're gonna make this button here. Why did I make it this? I'm just gonna make a plus sign actually. And then when you tap, this is gonna create the blueprint 3 that we made, the draggable one. And it's gonna wrap in condition. And that this is only if the money is enough. So if we go to deck now, we say money. If it's equal or greater than, let's say it's gonna cost $5. Yeah, why not? It's gonna create that, and then it's also gonna modify the variable the money and make it -5. This will just take away the money so you don't get it for free, and make it relative as well. So now we place that down and then put it like right there. And I'm actually gonna make these things a little bit bigger. I think I'm gonna make it all to height and width. And one thing I forgot is the spawning of the enemies. So now to spawn the enemies, I'm gonna create a little icon, I guess. I'll call it just E. The design doesn't matter, just makes it visually appealing. So when this is created, it's gonna create an enemy here every 1 second. But to make it scale over time, to make it harder and harder, we're gonna do something kind of creative where we're gonna make another actor, and we're just gonna put the up arrow here, it doesn't really matter. And this is just gonna make sure the enemies get more and more later on in the game. So when it's created, it's gonna create the enemy actor every, let's say 5, and all this does is create every 1 second. So you're just gonna have enemies more and more. I'll make this actually 4.5. So I'm gonna place this directly where the enemies would be, put like this. I'm gonna move the arrows and stuff a bit outwards now to be over here. So all that stack there, but basically now they're gonna be continuously coming. So as you can see, this is working. Because it's every 1 second, it creates a good enough gap, and then we have all that working. So now if I place down the turret, it'll shoot at the people, and as you can tell, maybe it's a bit difficult at the start here. So I want to make it start at 4, sorry. So now it'll kill the enemies slowly as they come in, and it'll kind of perfectly leave one enemy back there. Very close. Turret's very bad. Now I create a new one, I place it down here, and we basically have 2 now. So this is all working. And the more further you get in, the more turrets you'll be able to get. Some of the curving's a bit weird. To make the enemies harder over time though, and I'm quickly gonna buff this a little bit. I'm gonna make this shoot every 0.5 seconds. And then I'm gonna make the enemies get harder and harder. So all I'm gonna do is create a new actor. I'm just gonna scribble on this one. And then I'm gonna say when it's created, create that enemy spawner. And then say wait, let's say 5 seconds, and we're gonna repeat this 3 times. And basically it's gonna create more and more enemies once we place this down after some time. So as you can see now, there's way more enemies. And it maxes out at a certain point. So I'm just gonna say repeat every 5 seconds here. And then, or 6 seconds. And then I'm going to make the way to die. So we're going to create another blueprint. We're going to just call it like end. And then when this collides with the enemy, you basically lose. Enemy, just reset card and then play sound. So we're going to put this end right over there, all the way at the end. So once I go off the screen, then you kind of lose. I want to make it 1 block out as well. So the full gameplay loop should be here, where you have a turret that shoots the people. It's just the one problem I have with this tutorial is that the enemies don't track the paths very well. Maybe there's a way I can fix it. One day I'll probably redo this, but this is the best I can do for now. Once you click, you can place down a new turret. Should make that slow down a bit more, but you basically reset. And then when you reset, it should modify the money variable to 0 as well. And then I'm gonna add a tag to this enemy spawner, or that increases. I'm gonna say up for now. And then when it reaches the end, it's gonna tell all actors with a tag up to destroy themselves. So it's basically gonna reset the difficulty as well. And then final touch is just to make the slowdown like 100. And that should be the game. Thank you guys for watching. That was a really long tutorial. It did not have to be that long. I want to make the tutorials way better. There's a game I'm working on right now that I want to upload videos and stuff on updates of that game on Castle. So I'm really hyped for that. Anyway, see you guys in the next video, and you can play this game on my Castle page, linked in the description. Bye bye.